about yourself, just as an intro? Like, who are you? Where are you from?
I'm from Manhattan, New York City, born and raised there, lived there until I came to Athens at the advent of COVID in March 2020. I'm a lawyer. The courthouses had shut down because of COVID, and I already had a condo here, and I thought that it would be best just to wait it out here. And this now is my home base. I continue to have a small office in Flushing, Queens, in New York City, but I operate from here primarily now. Well, I've always enjoyed writing. I never wrote much creatively, although as a litigator, I had to do a great deal of writing of, all varieties of legal briefs and nasty letters to opposing lawyers, things like that, all of which was fun, lots of report letters, but legal writing is relatively structured. The story revolves around an intergenerational relationship. It's a bit mystery and a bit international intrigue, and it involves two protagonists, one of whom is a 13-year-old Chinese-American boy. His mother has emigrated from China when she was in her early 30s. She's a paralegal in a law firm in Flushing. And at the time of the story, she's working for, we'll say, a senior citizen New York lawyer, white person who's in Flushing, working and serving the Chinese community mainly there. And the boy discovers one day in school that the school is somehow pumping in a very fine blue mist into the air, which causes all of his classmates and his teachers to go into a blue funk, a very bizarre meditative stage for about 5 minutes. And then they come out of it. And this happens every day. And although no one took him seriously at first, certainly not his mother's boss, to whom he tells this tale, starts to take it seriously and investigate. And so the book really spins around what the two of them are trying to determine from this situation, this intrigue, this plot. At the same time, I also spin the mystery from the point of view of the people who are manufacturing and employing this blue mist, which, by the way, is based on a chemical called G88. And it's made in China, hence the Chinese flag on the drum of the chemical. And there are no surprises in the book. By reading from the protagonist's point of view, as well as, I don't know, should we call them the antagonist's point of view, you see how each side thinks, and you see what's happening. And you see slowly a coming together in terms of the discovery of each one of the other. And you see how each one determines how they're going to handle the other and what they'll do to handle the other. And that's where it is. The book is mainly New York centered, with a little bit of time in China. It was not easy. I had to put my head there. I had to think in terms of how a 13-year-old thinks. I had to go back to trying to remember how I thought and spoke at that time. And since I was a nerd, I was not really the best candidate for at least the protagonist. But I did use aspects of, in fact, my paralegal son as part of the protagonist. I also have two sons, so I pretty much remembered as much as I could about how they spoke and acted when they were younger. every chapter is written from the perspective of one of the characters, either antagonist or protagonist. And I did that on purpose because I wanted it to have a bit of the feel of an old-fashioned detective novel, you know, where the detective is in his office and, you know, he's drinking his coffee and, well, in comes so-and-so and how she looked or how he looked and da-da-da. And that's what I did with each character because I wanted the reader to feel that these characters were real people and not so far divorced from reality that the reader couldn't, if not identify with each character, could not empathize with each character and the role that each character is fulfilling. Well, most have been positive. One reader in Rio de Janeiro wrote back to me and said he thinks the thing would make a great either podcast or audio book, or even form the basis of, you know, maybe a short Netflix series, something like that. I will tell you that for people who are frustrated with books that end on cliffhangers, buy my book anyway. Read the book anyway. You may not be happy with the cliffhanger, but it'll draw you into what the hell is going to happen next. I haven't got a name for the sequel, but the sequel is written, is being edited, and will hopefully be available to you, Rob, in about 6 months in hard copy and Kindle. By the way, the sequel is not going to be all New York centered. There's a lot more China, but there's Athens, Georgia, and Madison County, Georgia, and the state of Maine. So, you know, it gets around more. Fahrenheit 451, Asimov's Foundation series. An excellent book by an author named Arthur Kessler. He wrote it in, I guess, the late 30s, called Darkness Before Noon. I would say basically those three really informed some of my thinking about where a novel could go and what could be done with the setting, with the characters, and also spinning the tale in terms of how much do you give away, how much do you not give away. The people, Rob, Lee, I love all the people. It's a wonderful atmosphere. It's a very positive, creative atmosphere. The fact that the university here adds a great deal to it. It's a lot of fun. You know, for me, it's you know, a small town, because I think the population here is equal to you know, a large neighborhood in New York City. But it's a lot more fun, and it's extremely green, which is really nice. And one of the wonderful things about Athens is that you can drive 15 minutes in any direction, and you're either at your location, or if you're headed, you know, more east, west, north, or south, you're just in countryside. Yeah. And it's really charming. Yes, this is Selkie Platek. Selkie is a 2.5-year-old black lab. I bought her when she was 6 or 7 weeks old from a breeder, small breeder up in Ellijay. Yeah, Selkie enjoys being out of doors all the time. She enjoys swimming. She enjoys retrieving. In fact, all she does is retrieve. She just loves retrieving. She's been a great inspiration. Not really for my writing, but she's just been lots of fun. And she's a great girl.